I told you what was going to happen. I knew that these things would take place. I'm so locked into the COG situation that I was going to say nothing took me by surprise, but I'd be lying. Because they continue to take us by surprise week after week. Yes. If you don't know, today we are discussing the City of God series. The fight rages on A Luta Na Para. A Luta Na Para.
Okay, all
right. Season finale, episode 6 of season 1. Tiera Bobera. Woo-wee. I must say, the one thing that I regret not doing during watching the season finale was recording myself watching the season finale.
Yeah.
Because I kid you not, the way I was standing up from the couch, pacing the floor, shouting.
This is so extra, but I know
I'm serious.
This is how you roll.
I'm serious. If anyone could see me, y'all would be like, "This is banana." I was screaming, and I was like, "What?" All of that. So, yeah.
So that's interesting because I feel like I had the opposite experience because like when I'm really, really zoned in, I'm very quiet when I watch something. If I'm not zoned in, I'm like laughing and I'm loud, I'm standing up, making noise. This, I was so like, I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to like have this conversation and have missed something. So I was like, no, I have to pay close attention. I don't want to miss a thing. And I knew the way that COG rolls, they're gonna drop little gems along the way, even in the final episode. So I was quiet. Quiet on my end.
I was chilling up until the middle in the end. So let's get into the whole thing of the final episode of season 1. First things first. Berenice, Roberta Rodrigues.
Vote for Berenice.
She there's a part, and this, and you let me know what you think. This could be because of how we've come into the fold, not being as familiar with everyone else's work outside of the world of COG, and then seeing them do this. For me, I feel like Roberta is putting so much of herself into this character, Berenice, because there's just something that is way authentic about Berenice. And I never feel like Roberta's like overdoing it or like trying really hard to even like give us this character. I just feel like there's a meshing, like she believes what she's saying as Berenice, and it comes through in the show, I feel.
Absolutely.
So she's campaigning for I guess the equivalent for us would be like a city councilman. She wants to be a council member, especially in the wake of Stringy's recent death. So we are brought to our attention that it's been about 2 weeks or more since the Stringy's death, and Berenice is putting forth the effort to fill those shoes, and the close community is for it.
And I want to tap in here because I think it's worth also noting that Berenice is a little apprehensive about this. At first, she was surprised that they even wanted her to do this. And as far as as strong as a character as she is, we get to see her be a little bit nervous. We get to see her be a little bit like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, she knows deep down she can do it, but like she still has that human moment of like, I don't know, y'all. Are y'all sure? And I appreciated that. Because we see her be so tough and so like self-assured so much throughout, the season. But she had a few moments in this episode where she was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna do it. And she kept pushing through anyway. And I just thought that was really dope that they were able to show that part of her, that side of her character.
Yeah, and it's just ultimately like really inspiring because they took this character through so much this season. Okay. And then we got to this point, and that is really like the first time you get a sense of self-doubt in her, where she's like, But of course, she's for the people, and everybody is like, no, you gotta do this.
You like, the one, girl. You the one and the two.
And as a result, she takes on, it well. There's a point where there's several points in this campaign of hers that play out throughout the final episode. But there's a point where we get to see subtly, as it would happen in real life, we get to see Leka and her friends make up, and for the sake of a common good, so that came together. And then we even got a signature Berenice song.
Yeah.
and I thought that moment was really, really inspiring. And I just appreciated that they did not come back together in like a cheesy way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That there was some kind of purpose. There was a foundation in like, okay, come on now. Let's do this.
And plus, like, I think you said this last week, of course they were going to get back together and be friends again, because when you're that age, that happens. You have your little tiffs. And then you're like, I miss you. And then, it's back like it was. But yeah, like you said, it was them coming together for a good cause, which I like to see MC Leka doing that with her talents, as opposed to, the sexy redness of it all.
But that's
I like this MC Leka.
That's a note to just great storytelling, right? So episode 1 Leka versus episode 6 Leka is completely different, right?
Yes.
So you do get to see her go from, I'm just basically doing this music thing, to have fun, have a good time, and do what people think we should be doing, versus them coming together later and saying, hey, we have this unit, we may as well put this into effect in a positive way. So there's some growth there with those characters that I enjoy. Yeah, another thing during Berenice's campampaign.
Yes. You're going to get it. You're going to get it by season 2.
Right. By season 2, I'm going to be saying her whole name.
I know.
Later, during Berenice's campaign, she starts to be a bit more vocal, right? She's rallying people. She's convincing them as to why they should be voting for her. And she's, putting in the actual grunt work, door to door, foot to the pavement. We're going to make this happen. And there's a point where she voices her opinion on the Braddock situation. We'll call it that. This immediately gets back to Braddock, right? And he sends Littlefoot to he sends for Berenice to come and see him.
Yes. And Berenice, being the tough woman that she is, she's like, all right. She put the thing on her head, and she went, the bag over her face, and she was like, all right, take me to Braddock. Like, cause she do not be playing with Braddock.
She don't.
She gives him the, I see you, I know you, stop playing with me. Like,
and he, which they've shown throughout, he has enough respect for her that he won't cross like that line. And there are a couple of things. So we learn through their dialogue, through them meeting, that the reason that they are so close is that there were moments throughout young Braddock's life where Berenice has been present, even to the point that there was a life-saving moment, right? Which further solidifies why he feels like, okay, I owe so much to this woman, right? But there's a line that she said that I was like, oh, she gave us all of it in this dialogue alone. She gave us emotion. She was, giving the heart to heart with Braddock, while Jerusa's hating self was hiding and lurking and listening behind the corner. But she was giving, she was giving us emotion, relatability, some slight notes of fear, because Braddock is a bit unpredictable, right?
Yeah, he's a loose cannon. Definitely a loose cannon.
She didn't show that outwardly, but you could, there was some stuff happening internally that I think came through. But she says a line to him, and he's like, he asked her, he's like, "Are you afraid to die?"
Você não tem medo de morrer, não, Beri?
Eu não tenho medo de quem já tá morto, verdade.
I said, come on.
That's what I'm saying. She keeps giving him the stop playing with me. Stop playing with me, Braddock. I'm not doing this with you.
The writing on this show.
My head and let me go back to what I was doing because you're wasting my time. It very much gave that, and I said, listen, we love this queen. This is why we love this character.
She's
I
amazing.
want to note the way that she was dressed during her campaigning gave me life. I noted halter tops. I noted dresses. I noted like jeans and cute shoes. I was like, you know what? I love that she's like, listen.
She was dressing like the streets, but she was dressed up.
Yeah. She was like, listen, y'all want me to campaign? But I'm wearing my regular clothes.
I'm gonna be comfortable. And so with the Bernice storyline, it culminates to a point where votes get casted, and she ends up securing a spot, albeit they did not, play it up cheesy and dramatic and say, "Oh, she's won, all the votes." You know how shows can do, right?
Yeah.
They were like, "No, she got in there a little bit."
Yeah,
because of course she started late in the campaign. It was that you can't expect to win a democratic process in like 2 weeks. It just doesn't make sense. And so in the end of her particular storyline for this final episode, she ends up on this television interview.
Being herself, not at all media coached.
Not at all.
She dressed in her street clothes, talking like she's talking to one of her homies. I loved it.
It was so good. The interviewer asked her about which, first of all, nobody ever I don't know why we didn't think this. I don't know. Well, I didn't think of this. That he was like, "Well, aren't you a felon?" Right? Oh. And she was like, "Well, what we're not gonna do is bring up that because they ain't got nothing to do with what we're doing."
Listen, she said, "What's your name?" I love that part.
She knew his name. You're on his show. You knew his name. But we find out that she was a felon, and I was like, "Oh, she would have gotten caught trying to get away back in the day, and did a bit of time." But I think that little note was just brilliant to kind of layer that in for us and say, yeah, she's got a whole past. But as we know with politics today, being a felon somehow
listen, and somehow it boosts your ratings. Except for you and I. Let's be clear. Except for you and me.
Right. So yes, we are here for everything Bernice related. She delivered on what she needed to for the final episode, and I'm so glad that they, although we did, lose Barbantinho, Stringy, the last episode, and that was a whole thing. I'm glad to see how they set us up for the future with passing the torch to Bernice. That was the right call.
Now, I just have one more thing to add on the Bernice storyline as we wrap that up. I did walk away wondering, who is going to run the salon? Is she going to still be doing hair? Because people got to get their hair done. So I was just like, what's the plan for the salon? Because Miss Bernice is going to be busy. So, hopefully we see that in season 2. Hopefully they answer that for me.
Let's keep that in the back of our head. Who's going to run Bernice's salon?
Valid.
Oh, gosh. What else we had? There was a lot packed into this. They gave us 50 minutes of show.
Let's talk about Braddock.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about Braddock.
So, Braddock. Tiago Martins. Let's go ahead and give all the credit where it's due in the fact that this guy is just great on screen. Yeah. This character, seamless for him. And when you juxtapose that to the energy and the aura that he gives as a performer outside of the show, it's like where are you finding this?
Yes.
Like how are you this crazy, cruel character, and then like this cool, chill, like relatable performance.
Yeah.
It's wild to see.
I love it. I love it.
But it speaks to, it speaks to just how great of a performer he was throughout the first season. So, spoiler alert, Braddock is not going to be returning season 2.
You know, the story played out the way that it needed to play out.
It did.
However, selfishly, I am going to miss seeing him on screen. I know he was the villain, but I enjoyed Braddock. I enjoyed his outbursts. I enjoyed his shenanigans. I enjoyed everything he brought, his one-liners, the way he was talking to people. I'm going to miss Braddock. And I'm like, okay, who y'all going to give me for season 2? Because y'all have taken Braddock from me. Who are we getting now?
Well, we still got Jerusa.
That's not.
Somehow we know that Andrea Horta is, she gives. She's amazing.
The things now. Andrea does the things. You did say on the very first recap that we did, you said that either she or Braddock would not make it to season 2, and you were absolutely correct.
Yeah,
it's Jerusa.
I'll be honest, she played chess like crazy. Now she's not in the clear herself, to be honest, but the way she brought it all together and said, "Look, I got to get you before you get me."
Yeah. And I gotta be the scene where she pulls up at the end. She pulls up at Braddock's house and she's wearing the black. That's the first time we've ever really seen her dressed down. Way. Yeah. So I thought that was really important that they did that. And when she got out with her hands up, I was like, "Oh, she finna surrender." Okay, all right.
I didn't believe it for a second.
And then I didn't see it. I didn't see that coming though. I did not see that coming. I did not see it. Then we see Jenny pull up.
Yes.
With one of his shooters, and they turned the gun on Braddock and Littlefoot, but he let Littlefoot go.
Yeah, which was the right thing to do as well. Here's what I told you, and we didn't say this on the recording, but we had a conversation about it. I said, look, last episode we didn't see Janino. We didn't see him at all. And the last we saw him, his mom was telling him to, get out of the way during that ambush.
Yep.
And so I just knew he was going to reappear and give us something. I didn't know this is how it would go, but I knew that he had to do it. There was so much packed in that final scene with Braddock, and you got to get back to in just that moment, because Braddock is, flipping out. He's already connected the dots because he's found out, the information about Jerusa and her being with Israel and all of that playing out in the media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at this point, he can't wait to see her, right?
Correct.
And so she comes, and you get to see him surrender and get the humanity that has kind of been an undercurrent throughout the whole time anyway, right?
Yeah.
As cruel and as crazy and as unpredictable as Braddock could be, there was always something that was like, I don't really dislike him, because we know that he's being gassed up by Jerusa and so on and so forth. Yeah. And so when you see him surrender to the surprise ambush from Janee, you kind of are like, okay, that is what Braddock would do in this regard, because he knows that he got rid of Curio. He knows how it went down, and he's accepted the idea that this could come back on me. So he doesn't even put up much of a fight. But next to that, you got to see, and we discussed this as well, Janee is a hard ass. Bruh has no fear.
Never seen him smile. Never seen him smile on him this whole season.
He's always like aggressive. That like he lives that life, right?
Yeah.
And this was the first time you even felt him feel conflicted, even though he knew he had to do what he had to do, right? Because when this opportunity may not come up again, and he still felt a connection to Braddock as a brother figure, right?
Yeah.
And so that messed him up a bit. There was just a lot that were that was happening with the whole Braddock storyline and how it came together just made perfect sense. In the end of that, Jerusa departs. She separates from Israel. But what do you think we're going to see with that particular connection? Because even when she said that she, we're going to go our separate ways because she finally got a hold of him on the phone, Israel speaking, he wasn't necessarily like, bye. He kind of was like, wait, what do you mean? Right. What do you think about that though? Because now we have Reginaldo's son being positioned into a point of power where he is actually being pushed up for election in the same realm that Berenice would be, right? And that's a result of the news that came out about Reginaldo and his connection to gun trafficking and all the crimes and stuff. And they felt that it was a better political play to let Reginaldo step back and let his son be pushed forward. That was the only move that they had. I wonder what you think about Israel's connection with Jerusa, but also it seems to me, and maybe I'm just making this up in my mind, that Reginaldo ain't really okay with the idea that his son is being pushed in front of him publicly. He kind of was like, congratulations, I guess. Did you pick up on that? What do you think about this whole thing? Because this is what we're going to be dealing with come season 2.
Yeah, I think as far as the relationship with Jerusa and Israel, I think that's over. I really think that's over. I think she has now seen that he doesn't care for her, which I'm sure she probably knew that, but now she's seen it, right? The writing is on the wall. She knows for a fact that like he's not going to protect her. He don't have her back. She's really out here on her own. So I do see them becoming enemies, and I see her hitching herself to Jenny in the crew so she can be, on top of whatever they got going on and being involved with that, because that is going to give her security, because she was already able to get him to go and shoot Braddock, so she already got into his head. So I feel like that's what it's going to be. Plus Jenny's young. Yeah. Jerusa got a little age on her and he can be like, oh, okay. So I see her trying to, swindle her way into that crew. But yeah. And then, yes, Reginaldo, I did pick up on that too, that he was just like, I guess, congrats, I guess. But it is his son. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
I think thinks that Reginaldo is capable of doing wrong to his own son.
I don't know.
Power is crazy. Having power, and he's been climbing the ladder all this time, right? To go from dirty cop into politics and be doing very well in politics, and still be doing underground backdoor crimes and all these things. I think that is going to be a bone of contention on the political realm.
Okay.
I feel this is what I'm predicting in that regards. And then with Jerusa, I feel like she knows more information about whatever's going on with the gun trafficking and everything like this, because we learned that the reason that she's even involved or, doing the thing that she's doing is because she's basically trying to avenge what happened to her own father in the past, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if she uses this to try and get a leg up again and uses the fact that Israel is still soft on her, right? He's still like, he's not very much like, okay, whatever, bye. I feel like she will try and use Israel more so to her advantage than the crew. I feel like she just was like, this is the only way I'm going to get out of this Braddock situation. So she let that happen. But I don't think that Jenny and them are going to be wanting her around.
I feel like she's going to use her. I think she's going to use her power, her lady power, and swindle her way right on into Jenny's heart.
Oh no!
Because he's young. He as far as we know, his only relationship has been with MC Lecca, right? Who's also his age. Jerusa got a little age on him, and she got experience on him. So I don't know. Something tells me she's gonna swindle her way in. We're gonna see.
She better not.
We're gonna see.
So, apart from that, so like we said, there was news that came out that revealed to us Reginaldo's ongoing like crimes and all this stuff, right? So that came out as a result of Wilson, Buscapé, Rocket, and Lígia finally connecting the dots enough to make a move happen in the media world. It was very difficult for them to get that story out. For a moment there, when Wilson, Buscapé, Rocket, and Lígia go to the newspaper and he's speaking to his boss about the story. He's like, here's all this information. There's a moment there where I felt like he's not the boss. I forget his name. He's not going to run with the story because maybe his hands are tied too, or maybe he's getting something peeled off, right? Because if you notice, he was reluctant to do it. You know, he kind of had to be convinced, and then he went to whoever his bosses are, and they went ahead and put the story out about Reginaldo. But if you notice, Reginaldo, when the story came out and he had the paper and he was just, you know, thinking out loud, he almost mentioned people by name. And he was like, you know, I forget what the name he said, but he was like, you know, so-and-so, you know, put this out. Like they went through with this, right? So he obviously knows who's connected to what. That is further confirmed because by the way, Lígia, why would you make Wilson go and put on a ski mask and hold up some?
So
what?
Can we talk about it? Because I love COG. I'm part of the family now. I have to keep reminding y'all I'm part of the family now. That scene for me, I was like, okay, now y'all playing. Y'all playing. Nobody is gonna be scared of Wilson or Lígia. Let's be for real. No. Even the way that they were talking, like, tell us now. I was like, okay, all right. No, let's be for real. That was the only scene I said, now y'all stop it.
I was just like, my whole thing was like, why would that guy who is trafficking guns, who, you know, has a casino, he's doing all this, you know, activities, why is he alone for that long? Why is he moving around in the streets by himself that they could do that? Yeah. I feel like in that part too was also like a timing thing. Because that kind of happened really quick after they were like, okay, we gotta do something to make this happen. And so what they do is they end up going after the gentleman who was connected to Reginaldo's camp and so on, and holding him up, tying him up in the car and demanding answers from him so they could get this story printed. So they were recording his confession. He names Jerusa as a connection, and he spills the beans. Also, why are you doing all these crimes, bro, if you're so scary? Because he folded quick.
He folded so quick. Like, again, it's Wilson, Rocket, Buscapé, and Lígia. So, like, why? Like, they're not scary. He told it so quick. He sang like a canary. So, like, that's why I was like, okay, this is a little unrealistic, but for the sake of timing, and like you said, we got to get the story out. We're going to roll with it.
I think that when they start to dig, Reginaldo and crew start to dig and they realize he, you know, spilled the beans, he's done. I feel like bruh's done.
Rightfully so.
So as they're doing that, they're scheming and, you know, trying to get the information about Reginaldo out, et cetera, et cetera. We get the confirmation that I mentioned. I said, you know, the whole thing with Turo being on their trail, that he had them figured out and he gave them a warning. Y'all got to stop this or I'm coming after y'all straight up, right? We get the further confirmation that Turo is indeed in bed with Reginaldo's camp, obviously, right? And so this sucks for them because Turo's the one who has confirmed that they are snooping. They are indeed the one snooping. It's nothing to connect the photos to the time, et cetera, et cetera. So he knew that it was Wilson and Lígia who were doing the things.
Which is why I'm not sure why they didn't get out of Dodge before the story was printed.
They were chilling quite a bit too much for me.
Big chilling. I'm like, y'all should have been gone.
So Wilson and Lígia, they get the story printed out. Everybody's getting the information about Reginaldo. We see when Berenice was at her interview, she had the papers with her on TV. The word has gotten around, okay? And we see conversations that are really mellow. I think that I was anticipating, and this was your fault, I was anticipating some sort of kiss to happen.
I was too.
Especially when they were leaving Berenice's celebration of her getting elected, and he was taking her to the airport or whatever. Yeah. I thought there was gonna be like a kiss when they were putting the luggage in.
I did too.
But
and then I thought, well, Wilson Racket Buscapé, he's a little corny, so maybe he got nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe he was gonna wait until they got to the airport, and he was gonna do it at the airport. That was my thought. Yeah. And then, there was as predicted. Yeah.
There was a note that also I got answers to, because you and I made a joke earlier in the season about why is this investigative reporter coming all the way from Spain and meddling in what's going on in the city of God. And what they reveal through dialogue is that Lígia is originally from Brazil.
Right.
She just moved abroad and has been there for so long, and then, came back.
So she's got vested interest.
Yeah,
that made sense to me. I was glad that they
cleared that up.
Loop. Yeah, because I was like, why are you here?
So she is more connected than we thought to Brazil and to Rio and the city of God. That being said, she's planning on getting out of Dodge. She's planning on leaving. She wants Wilson to leave with her. I think that was that was her way of flirting back, but not for real.
It's like work flirty.
Yeah. Like, why don't you come? I don't know.
You can visit. You can.
I think she knew he would say no. But I asked you, so you can't say I didn't ask you. So they just were chilling a little bit too long for me, and I was like, okay, something's got to give. And I'm telling you, the way that they shot this scene, them putting the luggage in the car, it's nighttime. They get in the car and they drive off. And that's camera, Tiera. That camera was on that car for too long. That camera was just. I said they finna. Oh snap!
And it showed, like, when they showed the rear views. So like the back window.
Yeah.
You don't see anybody on a motorcycle. You don't even really see the motorcycle. You just see the lights. You just see the lights. And
blinding.
So you know what time it was. Man. We know what time it was. And as predicted on episode 1, I told you, Lígia was not making it to season 2. She was moving funny. And look at what happened.
I was just hoping.
Called it.
I was hoping that they didn't leave us hang. I wouldn't have cared if they did. I would have just
that would have made me mad.
No, if they didn't reveal it and let us know exactly who got hit and what.
Yeah.
That scene got me.
That scene got me. I'm with you. I was like, don't give us a cliffhanger, because I don't have time for that. I need to know that Wilson Racket Buscapé is okay.
But now he's not safe either.
But now, that just means that Wilson Racket Buscapé got a target on his back.
Yeah, because of her.
Because of her from here on out. To which they probably already feeling a way about him, because he's already been taking all these photos. Like, he's been the guy, but he's kind of just been, they let him go. They let him do his thing. But now you done gotten involved in something, and they shot that girl and they let you live. Ooh, Wilson Racket Buscapé. Target on your back, bro.
Gosh. Let's theorize here for a moment as we wrap it up.
Let's theorize, and then I got a couple questions, and then we get out of here. We give our ratings, and we get out of here.
Well, what questions do you have?
Since we're here, I want to know from you, besides Queen Berenice, who's your favorite character from this season?
Favorite character from the season? That's a loaded question. I don't have a single favorite character. I have favorite Moments from characters.
No, pick a character. That was not a question.
I can't.
Pick character.
I can't. But you won't even let me pick Berenice. That's lame.
We already got Berenice out the way. We know Berenice is our fave.
Picking one character?
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Who's yours? Who's yours?
You know mine.
Who?
Braddock. I love Braddock. I love Braddock. He killed it for me this season. My favorite. Loved every time he came on screen. I was like, yes. Yes.
I don't even know if I can answer that one. I'm gonna be honest. That's hard for me because there's so many characters that I've become invested in that I can't choose one.
All right.
What's the other question?
Favorite? Who's your least favorite?
Least favorite?
I know. I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
You feel like I would say Jerusa, right?
I feel like you'd say Jerusa.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I do dislike Jerusa a lot because of who and why she is and all the things that she's doing. I do
so good though.
Have disdain, but she's so good.
So good.
She's a necessary evil in this thing, and them choosing to keep her and off Braddock. Because it could have gone either way. Let's be honest. They set this up so much that it could have gone either way, and we wouldn't have known. You know, there was no, somebody had to go, but this is what they went with. And yes, I dislike the character, but I don't know that that's my
not
least.
The actor.
I don't think that's my least favorite character.
Okay,
do you know what I'm saying?
So who you got?
Least favorite.
You didn't give me a favorite, so you gonna give me a least.
Least favorite character is probably it would have to be Reginaldo, right?
Okay.
It has to be Melonhead.
You said it has to be.
It has to be be somebody from that space, you know, or maybe even I forget his name, but Reginaldo's boss, that guy, he doesn't have any empathy. He just, you know, go ahead and do it. That's fine. You know, so, you know, somebody from that camp is probably my least favorite.
Fair enough.
You know.
Fair, I guess.
So the things that I'm looking forward to in a season 2, let's go there, okay?
All right.
We know we've been set up well with Berenice leaning into local politics. So we're gonna see more of that. We have Lecca and crew who are shifting their. Oh, by the way, the scene with Wilson and Lecca. That was needed.
Yeah.
That was a good scene. And I like how they come together on, even though he's really trying to step up, right? And Lecca's letting him, which you don't often see in these kind of storylines where there's a father who is here and there, and then there's a child who, you know, grew up with a grandparent more so or whatever. And so sometimes there could be a block there where they are constantly butting heads and stuff like this. But he knows how she is. He meets her where she's at. So then
I said, look at Rocket stepping up being a father 21 years later. I love that for you. Y'all can bond over smoking a J. All right. It is what it is.
Yeah. I liked seeing that happen. And as that was happening, I was like, he better not tell her he's going to Spain because I'm a snap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he gave her that money. He gave her that money. And then he was, you know, having a hard time. I said, you better not. You better not. But he didn't.
I enjoyed that scene. I enjoyed, like you said, her allowing him to have that moment, and then her allowing herself to be vulnerable. I appreciated that. I thought that was dope. And then even like the scene didn't end there. Like it did end there, but like the next part of the scene is like her falling asleep in the bed and him next to her. And I was like, how adorable is that? Like, because when you're an adult and you fall asleep next to a parent, like it's like, no, I'm still your kid. And in my head, I was like, oh, they watched a movie. That's so cute.
That was perfect. That was perfect. Oh, I was gonna say, I can answer your question from before about a favorite character. Like I said, there are many. Mm-hmm. Let's be clear. There are many favorite characters, but I love PQD, period.
Really?
And I did not expect us to see him at all in this last bit.
Yeah.
I like what he brought through the season. The only thing I didn't like was him stressing Berenice out like crazy. Mm-hmm. But what I really enjoy about their relationship is that you can tell that they are like two sides of the same coin. They kind of balance each other out in a way. Mm-hmm. And so when they showed us that scene of him in prison, and he's watching the news about Berenice and what she's doing and so on.
Yeah.
You didn't get any air of, regret, or he wasn't angry about her doing things. He was almost watching in admiration, like, that's my girl, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, and I caught that.
He sort of accepted his fate at that point. We don't know if at this point, if PQD's ever going to get out of prison based on, because we don't even know what they charged him with, But also there was that moment when we were talking about earlier, Berenice meeting with Braddock and Braddock using PQD as a way to get to her. Because she was, like you said, she was sizing him up and she was letting him know what time it was. And he was like, he's like, I could, get your boy hurt on the inside. It's not a problem. Right. Mm-hmm. And that was the only thing that gave her pause.
Yeah. But then she remembered, like, this is Braddock.
Yeah. So you could tell that she still very much has PQD at the front of her mind while she's doing all of this stuff too. I just enjoyed the intensity that he brought, but also how he was able to like dial it back at the end and still have this air of, love in his heart for his lady and be supporting her from the inside. Mm-hmm. So I did like that character. But
okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that. Okay.
The other theories as we wrap up here, and the only reason, by the way, we're going to keep this one long because this is the season finale. So this is just going to be all played out. We want you all to join in on this conversation. If you have any opinions, theories, ideas about what we're going to be seeing next season, let us know in the comments. Let's have a conversation and let's, get into all the things. Another thing I'm looking forward to is finding out who Delano's father is. Okay. They can't leave us hanging with that. We have to get to the bottom of this because I personally don't feel like it's Knockout Ned. And
it certainly isn't Lil Zay.
No. Cynthia, she was a baddie, and she was not. No.
Well, you know what? On that same note, I want to know who MC Lake's mama is. So let's find. Season 2. We want to get paternity test results and maternity test results.
That's true. And then also there's this too. There's this thing too. So Leka grew up with. Well, she was raised mostly by her grandmother because Wilson, was doing his thing. But they did speak of a mother who we know is deceased. We don't know what happened, right? And we don't know if she has other grandparents either. Like if there's other...
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Because she could have that, or she could have another sibling. There's a lot of stuff that could go on with Leka, just in her personal life in season 2, let alone her extracurricular stuff.
I mean, while we're here, MC Leka and Delano, where is that going to go?
Yeah.
What's going to transpire? And I really do believe, I told you, she's going to get him into some mess and he's going to have to get involved because he likes her. And, he's kind of a tough guy too. Mm-hmm. So I feel like MC Leka is going to get him into some mess. I hope like we both were saying. We find out who their other parents are. I'm here for that. And I also want to find out, more about what Wilson's relationship was with MC Lekka's mother. Is this was this a relationship? Was this a one-time thing? We got to find that out.
Yeah, we got to get more into their business for sure.
Who else? What else?
With that connection, like you said, Lekka and Delano, with that connection, I feel there's going to be some conflict with the fact that currently Delano is suspended from the force because of his interactions with that other officer, right?
Yeah.
But we also know that Delano was having some inner conflict, having to carry out orders from his job, and those things, affecting the people he spends his time caring for, especially with the youth, right? And so there was that internal conflict, and I feel like if he intends on going further with Lekka in any kind of way, that she's going to make him have to choose what he's doing, because she stands for what she stands for and she ain't budging.
Yes, so we know that.
So he's not going to be able to go much further with her without having to be, having his feet held to the fire by her. And I think I think that would have to play out as well. And then also, she mentioned one time to him that it was a complicated thing, basically keeping him in a place that she wanted him. Did she mention that because she does have dealings with Janee? Because we didn't really see them having a connection like that, other than it being like implied. So I don't know. I don't know,
but I'm telling you, Jenny's gonna be preoccupied with Jerusa. So
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, because I'm gonna tell you why I really don't know about that. I'm gonna tell you why I really don't know about that, because since Janee has done what he's done, and avenged his father's name, we're gonna see more of his storyline playing out. But we know who his mama is. And Miss Shirley Cruz, Martina, is not fit to play with Jerusa. I just don't see that. I don't see that.
This is true, but also her son is going to be feeling himself, because now he's taking the place of his father.
He ain't gonna say nothing to her.
He's not. He is, but he isn't. He's gonna say enough. He's gonna say enough to be like, "Mama, I'm grown now." And she gonna be like, "What?" He's gonna be like, "Never mind." So, I'm telling you, he is going to be feeling himself, because now. Who's the king?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. When it comes to the gang life and all this stuff, I feel like Martina, his mom, is going to be pleased with what he did, right? Avenging his father's death. And I feel like she would be the one to guide him on what to do if he intends on being a power player in the thing, because she would know. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like maybe that's where that would go, where she's kind of like, this is what you need to do for your dad. For your dad's legacy.
Yes, but I'm with you. But then, so that's her on one shoulder. The other side is going to be Jerusa, like, nah, boo, you don't have to listen to what your mama.
Well, Jerusa's not going to survive season 2, episode 1.
The same way she put the battery in Braddock's back, she's about to do the same thing to Janee. I'm telling you. Let's see. But I'm telling you, mark my words. Play this back next year. Run this
or next
clip.
season. Next season, whenever we get it. Hopefully, they really cranking it out for us. But other things I'm looking forward to. Let's see. So those particular storylines, I would have to say, I don't know. Like those are the ones that stand out to me the most. Here's what I think they're doing a good job of, and let me know what you think as well. I think they're doing a great job of setting up the next generation while also anchoring us in with the longer term characters that we've gotten used to. So we have Berenice, we have Wilson, we have people like characters like Littlefoot and so on that are still existing in this world, right? We did see some of them get taken out almost as a note of turning over to a new chapter. And so I think that having the younger new characters start to level up was a very smart strategic move, because we wouldn't have cared as much about these characters had we not had our connections to the original City of God with our main cast, right? And so now we're in a position where we want to see what happens with Lecca and Delano and Janee. And then there's also, they have siblings and they have their own sort of things happening that are being developed as we go through. And all of that is being, moved along by our previous generation, right? And I think that was very smart. And I think they're doing that on purpose, because how much can you get out of, going that far with Wilson? If he didn't have a child, it would be a totally different kind of story, right? He wouldn't have anything to be like really fighting for, because in fact, it was Lecca who, finally pushed him to, start to change the narrative a bit, right? That was his love for his daughter that did that. And with Cynthia, she has Delano, and Delano is, conflicted. He's having his own thing. Berenice's daughter is Lecca's friend, and we didn't get to see much development out of her outside of the friendship that they share, her and Lecca. But the point is everyone has something to believe in, but also from a storytelling standpoint, we get set up with characters that we can start to care about as seasons develop. You get what I mean? What do you think about that playing out? Because I think that was just brilliant.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you said it all. I don't really have much to add. I agree. I think it's great storytelling that we're able to weave in these older characters now that they are older, and we get to see them in this space, but then have the newer characters, like you said, who we probably wouldn't care about otherwise, but now because we know the connection with the original characters, it makes sense. I do think that there is space to maybe bring back some actors from the original into season 2, maybe not to play like full storylines, but like little nuggets here and there, kind of like how Littlefoot, was in the original, but he was in this one a little bit. Like, I think there's still space for that. And then maybe them seeing the success of this, maybe those actors will be like, yes, count me in. So I think that would be cool. I think you're absolutely right, though. I think them weaving in these newer characters and then those stories developing just really sets us up for the next gen, COG, next generation.
Yeah. That's really what it's giving. It's giving next gen.
Giving COG, next generation.
So a lot of these performers are getting the rub, if you will, and they're getting pushed as a result of the legacy of this film. And the stories have played out so perfectly. I found it very difficult this season to poke holes in everything. And I had a good time. This is, again, I said this before, this is one show that I'm going to be anticipating its return. Like, what am I supposed to do with myself these next few Sundays? I really don't know. What's the point? You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do with yourself now. Right now, you are going to give us your final rating for the full season of City of God. The fight rages on.
Okay.
Your favorite title.
So, right. My final rating for the season, as you know, it's been up and stuck for me the whole time. And the big overlaying question for the season was, is this going to hinder the legacy of the film because it was such a huge blockbuster, especially for a Brazilian film, and it's such a staple and beloved worldwide. Continuing these stories, is it going to deliver, right? When the season started out, we had questions about, just the lack of grit at first. They quickly made up for that. We had questions about our characters from past times, being brought forward, and they did a phenomenal job incorporating those characters, and things like that too. So it's just like, what do you do in a situation where it's hard to like critique anything in a bad way? The only bad thing for me throughout the entire season is the fact that the season ended already. Like, I would have held on for another 6 episodes. Like,
that's real. That's real.
I had such a good time. So as up as it has been, I'm going to do something that I've only done once, and I am going to go ahead and give a golden Denzel to the whole season.
I knew it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was great for me. What about you?
It was great for me as well. I had a good time with this, coming off the heels of watching the first 2 and then going right into this. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mentioned I was missing the grit on the first episode, but like you said, they quickly got to it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. So yeah, I like the tie-ins with the original. I think that was done perfectly. I think that it's so cool to see the actors in their grown-up state, and still being able to deliver and still being able to really portray these characters. And I think there was so much care involved with like the original story, and it never felt cheap, it never felt cheesy, it never felt like a cash grab or like, hey, let's do a reboot, and then it's like, just for the sake of doing a reboot. No, I really feel like there was so much attention to detail and so much just love put into this. I mean, I know it's like a gritty, crime show, but I do feel like there was love involved. So that I can appreciate. I appreciate the new stories, the new characters being brought in where they made sense. There was never really a character that just like popped up out of nowhere and we're like, what are they doing? Even like with Lydia at first, she kind of popped up out of nowhere, but them tying it together at the end for us and saying, this is why she matters. This is why she's here. Good job, y'all. Love that. Again, shout out to all these actors. Y'all have done the things. The storylines are great. Like you said, this was only 6 episodes, which is funny for me to hear you complain about a show being 6 episodes because we often complain about shows being too many episodes. And this is a show that I wouldn't mind seeing 8, maybe even 10 episodes. So maybe season 2 will get that. We'll see. I'm also going to miss this on Sundays/Mondays when I watch it sometimes. But for me, overall, it is absolutely going to be an Angela Bassett. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I'm just, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Like, I guess I'll count blades of grass or look at the clouds or something on Sundays because what else is there to do? I want to personally give a shout out to the cast and crew of City of God, and I can't wait for what's to come. If you've been watching this long, go ahead and like this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of what we continue to do on this platform. And we haven't been doing this before because we just been chatting about it. But if you don't know, I am TeaRon. You can find me on Instagram at TeaRon World, on TikTok at TeaRon with 2 underscores on the end. You can find Ubiquitous Blacks all over the social medias at Ubiquitous Blacks. Find us on all the platforms. Let's chat about the show. Even if it's off for now, we can still talk about it. We can still dream and make up storylines and all these things. I'm down to do that. And there are several ways you can support this show, this platform. Just check out the description and you'll find information about that. Tiera, where can they find you if they want to chat with you about City of God?
If you want to talk with me about City of God or anything else, of course, you can follow me on all things Ubiquitous Blacks, but personally, you can find me at Tiera Takes Travel. I do content for travel or travel content online here on YouTube and elsewhere. So you can find me at TIERA TAKES TRAVEL, or you can just go to my website, tieratakes.com. Hit me up there. And yeah, I just want to say shout out to the cast and crew. I'm going to echo TeaRon on this. Y'all did the things. You killed it. And shout out to the listeners and viewers who've been checking out our review every week. We appreciate you listening and watching. Please join in on the conversation. We would love to chat more with y'all.
Yes, definitely. And you'll see us each Tuesday for a review of something else, I guess. But make sure you return for the much anticipated already for me, season 2. Mm-hmm. Make it do what it do.
That's right.
And now we wait.
Now we wait. Bye, y'all.
Bye.